name is Rachel and I'm here today to do the Book Snooker book tag. I was tagged in this by Charles Heathcote. I will link his version of this video down below because it's very interesting. You should go watch it. And I will link the original video as well if you want to go and watch that. But yeah, it looks like a really fun tag, so I'm going to get straight into the prompts. And the first one is red. Name a book that made you see red. For that I've picked Nod by Adrian Barnes. This is one that I mentioned in my August wrap up, I think. It's the book that's making me most angry at the moment. Ridiculously angry, really. It's quite misogynistic, badly written, and just like his ability to fuck up a premise that's so good is ridiculous. So this book makes me see red because I fucking hate it, and I've only just read it, so like the hate's really fresh. I can taste it in my mouth 24/7. Then we have Yellow, which I'm gonna have to read because it's quite a long one, so just ignore me. Name a book that has a summer theme or that you want to read in summer. So for this I picked my favourite book from last year, one of the best books I've read in the last few years, and just I'm so excited about it. I'm gonna reread it. I got it on audiobook the other day because I was like, I need to reread you for the excuse that a sequel's coming out, but really I just really need to reread it, and it is Call Me By Your Name by Aciman. So this is set during the summer. It's like a summer romancy type of book, although I wouldn't put it in that category. It's not like a contemporary, that's not what I mean. It's not like a romance book. It's got a lot of serious themes going on in it. This basically follows a boy called Elio who is a teenager. He is always in this like summer getaway place in Italy, and his mother and father always invite someone to come and stay to I think it's just like to get some extra money over the summer because the house is quite big, and they usually have like a researcher or someone who like needs to like get away to write. Oliver comes and Elio and Oliver develop feelings for each other, and this is Elio's first time having feelings for another man. That's basically how it goes. It's wonderful. It's so wonderful. It's one of my favourite books. It's definitely one of my favourite like gay books of all time. I love some gay, and this is up there. I think it's so well done. It always really reminds me of Wuthering Heights in terms of like the intensity of the relationships. Like the whole thing of like Call Me By Your Name, that whole scene that happens just really reminds me of Kathy and Heathcliff being like, I am Heathcliff, we're one, all that sort of stuff. Like for some reason they're really linked in my mind, and obviously Wuthering Heights is one of my favourite books ever, so it works. I love this book. This is for summer theme. Next we have Green. Name a book that represents spring. And for that one I chose Tess the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. The reason that I picked this book is I just remember this book being so much about farming. Tess is always like travelling around to a new farm and doing some sort of farming, and they go really into detail about sewing and machinery and all of these things to do with farming, which I'm surprised that I didn't find boring. Like, it's a testament to Hardy's writing because I would not really care about farming, and he makes me care, and I love this book very much. Obviously Tess the D'Urbervilles is about Tess, who gets in a situation early on in this book, and it's kind of about her moving past that situation and carrying on with her life in a society that doesn't really want to let her forget and won't forget what's happened because views of women and what women are allowed and not allowed to do. That sort of a thing. So this is a great book, and it always just reminds me of spring because there's so much farming in it. Next we have Brown. Name a book with a somber or serious theme, and for that one I have chosen The Goldfish Boy by Lisa Thompson. This is, I don't know what age it's really for. It's a children's book, but I'd say the themes in it, it's like Lisa Thompson's taken adult themes that are really important and tried to bring them to children, and she does it phenomenally. We follow Matthew. Matthew is in the early stages of developing OCD. He has a lot of the different traits, he has a lot of the thought patterns, he has a lot of those like obsessive thoughts and compulsions, but he's not been diagnosed, and his family are only starting to realise that it's actually a thing that needs to be diagnosed, like that it's a mental illness around the start of this book, and we sort of move through that with him. And it's just phenomenally done. It's obviously, I've picked this because it's a very serious theme. Obviously I'm not a child, so I don't know if a child can understand this, but I imagine that it would be a great one for a child. And it doesn't just focus on that, it has this other storyline that's going on, this mystery with a child that's missing. So I feel like it'd be really engaging for children, as well as bringing something that's so important to them. So I love this. I want to pick up some more Lisa Thompson because she has 2 other books out that I really just want to read and want to pick up. I gave this 5 stars and I thought it was one of the most amazing books I read this year. Then we have Blue, Name a Book That Made You Sad or Melancholy. And this book fits the bill perfectly because it absolutely destroyed me when I read it. And I haven't mentioned it on this channel for ages, so I thought I'd mention it today. And it is a poetry collection by Michel Faber called Undying, a Love Story. This is basically Michel Faber dealing with the loss of his wife. So his wife got cancer, and there's a very small amount of poems that are from before she had cancer. I think literally like 2 or 3, and the rest are like after she's passed away. Oh my god, I remember them being heart-wrenching. I remember visiting an ex who lived in London, and I was getting the train, and this was the book that I was reading, and I remember getting out on the train, reading one poem, feeling like I was going to burst into tears and being like, I can't read this book in public, I just can't. I'm going to be like wailing. It's so raw and real, and just I can't imagine what it's like to go through something like that, but Michel Faber manages to put into words what it's like to go through something like that, and it's just phenomenal. I really do want to reread it. I feel like I need a certain level of bravery to go back into this again because it's so amazing, but it's so hard to read. So there's this one. It made me very sad. On a happy note, we have Pink, which is name a book that made you feel happy, uplifted or cheerful. And for this I have a really small book, and it is My Purple Scented Novel by McEwan. So I read this on a plane ride back from Zurich once. I read the whole thing in the space of like half an hour or something. It's very small, and I wasn't expecting a lot, and actually I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so funny. So it's about this guy who, him and his friend always like wrote together, and they went to university together, and they always like did writing and things like that. And then one of them becomes a author and a best-selling author, and he does really well. The other one, I think maybe he publishes a novel, but it doesn't do well, and he's sort of like, he just doesn't do well at all. And then I can't remember what exactly happens, but it comes to play that like the one who doesn't do well ends up stealing the book that the other one's working on and publishing it, and that's kind of the premise of this. And I can't remember specifically what happens. I'm definitely going to reread it because, like I said, it's so small, the writing's huge, like it really didn't take that long to read. I absolutely adored it. It was so funny, and just like such a quick little one that I wasn't expecting to be so good. So would highly recommend this. This is great. And the last one is Black. Name a book that has a dark or depressing theme. And the book that immediately sprang to mind was Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. This deals with rape culture, but it does it in a way that felt really real. The things that happened in here felt like they could happen now. And when I'd been at school, it felt like this was the exact reaction and situation that would happen, which I've never felt with a book before. I've never felt it be so perfectly done, because it's like everywhere. Everyone knows about it. The victim blaming is fucking insane. It's all over social media, and the way that social media plays into it is done so well. The way that it ends up happening, the way that the girl kind of like, she gets herself into the situation, but the fact that she gets herself into that situation means that like the victim blaming for her is crazy. And it's just, Louise O'Neill is writing books that need to be out there on issues that need to be talked about that no one seems to be talking about, or they're not to me anyway. And it's the same with Almost Love by her as well, that I read a few months ago. Both the books that I've read by her have been ridiculously depressing, that's why I picked it for this one, but have been so needed and have touched on things that are so important but that I don't think people know how to put into words, so they don't really know how to talk about. Like Almost Love talks about relationships where someone's so manipulative and so controlling, but it kind of makes the person want them more and like want to impress them to the point where they like sacrifice themselves and their pleasure. And like there's this thing where like when someone manipulates you, sometimes it can make you obsessed with them. It's just phenomenal, and I love everything Louise O'Neill does. She is now one of my favourite authors of all time. Like even though I've only read 2 of her books, I think she is just writing the books that need to be written, and I love her so much. And that's why I picked that one. So that is the book Snooker Tag, and these are the books that I chose. I would recommend all of them except Nod, because it's fucking shite. All the rest, go for it, they're great reads. Thank you very much for watching. I am going to tag Books and Brushes and Alex Black, because I would love to see what both of you ended up picking for these prompts. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye!